Hi everyone, and welcome to Mackey Arena. Happy New Year, and I hope you're ready for some Boilermaker basketball, because now that the calendar has turned to January 2022, it's time to start playing Big Ten games again. I'm Rob Blackman, this is Chris Forman, and thank you for joining us. And again, a Happy New Year to you as our Boilermakers get back in action tonight. Purdue ranked third in the country with their 12-1 overall record, 1-1 in the Big Ten, take on the 23rd ranked Wisconsin Badgers, who will enter tonight 10-2. They also are 1-1 in conference play. Well, Chris, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Rob.
As I like to say, and you'll hear me say this on the radio network later tonight for those that are listening, now the real games resume. The games that really count, the Big Ten games. For Purdue to get here, they of course have already played 2 Big Ten games, but aside from that, Purdue played 11 non-conference games. Boilermakers won all 11 games, won 11-0 in non-conference play. That does not happen around here very often.
No, it's only the 4th time since 1940 that it's happened. And as Coach Painter said in the locker room after the game the other night, he goes, that is huge come Selection Sunday. You've done everything you can in the non-conference. You beat Villanova, you beat North Carolina, you beat Florida State, Butler, North Carolina State. You've done everything you can to put yourself in the best possible position. Now it's up to doing something in Big Ten play.
And that's a great point. Certainly Coach Painter would know what he's talking about. Those Selection Sunday meetings, you start getting down to the nitty-gritty and putting seed lines across from teams' names. They do take into account what did you do in the non-conference portion of your schedule. And it's not like, and I won't mention other teams in the Big Ten, but it's not like some teams in the Big Ten that really feast on less than subpar competition. Purdue's, you mentioned already the names of some of the teams, probably all of them. When you look at Purdue's non-conference record, man, Purdue beat some heavy hitters.
Yeah, Purdue is 3-0 in quad 1 games so far this year. There's only one team, Providence, that's 5-0. Then no one else has more than 3 wins.
Wow.
And to do it in an undefeated record, that says a lot about the non-conference we had.
So a great non-conference for Purdue, 11-0 in the non-con. Of course, 1-1 in the Big Ten, the one loss being the half-court buzzer beater at Rutgers back in December. So now Purdue begins to refocus today on Wisconsin. The Badgers coming in here, it's one of the most unique stats in all of college basketball, at least from a Purdue standpoint. And this isn't just me saying this, folks. My late great broadcast partner Larry Clisby talked about this all the time. One of those stats that just baffled him his entire basically career. The fact that Wisconsin has played so poorly in Mackey Arena over the years.
Yeah, they've won 4 games since Mackey was built. And, I mean, it's kind of mind-blowing to think about. Coach Katie won like 30 in a row against them. I don't know, from 1985 to 2000 or something like that. So Purdue's really had their number. Now, Wisconsin did win its last game in this building last year, so they might come in with a little bit more confidence. They played Purdue close last year with no fans in attendance, obviously, so they might come in with a little bit more confidence than normal.
Last year, Boilermakers winning 73-69. Again, played here at Mackey, but played with no fans. There will be fans here tonight. Yet another sellout number 33, sellout number 33 in a row. No students today, obviously, still on the semester break, but we do have a sellout crowd. Before we talk about Wisconsin specifically, a couple of notes I want to speak about. Number one, Purdue is ranked 3rd again this week in the AP Top 25. The rankings came out earlier today. Purdue at number 3 means the Boilermakers are not only in the top 5 again, but in the number 3 ranking for how many in a row?
Well, they've been in the top 3 for 7 straight weeks, which is now the longest span in school history. When you think about that, the illustrious history of Purdue basketball, it's never been in the top 3 for a longer stretch. So that says something about this team right now.
All right, next thing I want to talk about, Chris, before we focus specifically on tonight's game with Wisconsin, is the rest of the Big Ten. Now that the non-conference schedule is finished and the rest of us, all of us, will play conference games the rest of the way out, teams that maybe surprised you or just quite frankly you were very impressed with in the non-conference portion of the schedule?
I think Ohio State's looked good. Michigan State's looked pretty good, I think. Ohio State had a big win last night coming back from behind to beat an okay Nebraska team, but they may have found something in Malachi Branham, who had 35 points as a freshman. Right. Really big-time performance from him. Illinois has been up there. They need Andre Curbelo back, I think. He kind of brings them a little bit something, but they're hitting threes at a really, really strong rate. Alfonso Plummer, the transfer from Utah, has been outstanding for them. So they have a really good inside-out attack. But you look at the top four, it's probably going to be Ohio State, Michigan State, Purdue, Illinois, somewhere in that order. Michigan struggled a little bit. I think their new pieces are still trying to find their roles. Minnesota's been a really big surprise, being 10-1 now, I think. So Big Ten, once again, it's going to be a really, really tough league this year.
And by the way, our congratulations to Micah Shrewsbury, our old friend, picked up his first career Big Ten victory when last night Penn State beat Indiana. Good for Coach Shrews. We just hope it doesn't give him too much confidence because we play there on Saturday.
Yeah, they have Northwestern before us on Wednesday night in Chicago, but I think I've seen a stat, I think Rayfeld Davis said this, that he hadn't lost to Indiana since like 2011. So good win for Shrews to get his first league win. Good
win, Coach Shrewsbury, well done. All right, let's talk about the Wisconsin Badgers. They entered today 10-2, 1-1 in the league. Quite frankly, if you look at their schedule, the only games they've struggled and or haven't won are the games when they haven't had Johnny Davis in the lineup or not at full strength. And there's a good reason for that. Johnny Davis leads the Badgers in scoring, in rebounding, in assists, and in steals, much like our own Jaden Ivey. He's a sophomore who was pretty good as a freshman last year, but much like our Jaden Ivey has really exploded this year as a sophomore.
Yeah, I think along with Jaden and Caleb First, who actually was on the under-19 team, Johnny Davis really used that experience to gain a lot of confidence. And you look at him this year, he is an outstanding two-way player. He's one of the best defensive players in the league. Obviously a great offensive player, averaging 21 a game. Jaden Ivey and Johnny Davis will be matched up with each other tonight. It's going to be a very interesting battle. They both have shot up NBA draft boards. I've seen Johnny Davis in a lottery position, so it's a big game. There are about 15, 16 NBA scouts here tonight as well. So
wow.
A lot of interest in how those two are going to match up with each other.
Yeah, fans, if you're watching this one tonight or listening on the radio, thank you for that. There's a good chance you're watching two top 10 picks in the NBA draft this coming summer when the NBA draft takes place in Jaden Ivey and in Johnny Davis. Chris mentioned it. These two guys played together along with Caleb First on the U19 team for FIBA in the FIBA World Cup games this past summer. Jaden Ivey, of course, named to the FIBA U19 All-Star team when it was all said and done, as was our own Zach Edey representing Canada. So you do have a lot of talented players who were involved in summer league play this year for either USA or another country. I'm bringing all this up because a lot of young guys to talk about, a lot of guys who had success in the summer, but when you talk about Wisconsin, you have to talk about Brad Davison. He's not a young guy. He wasn't involved in playing ball this summer, but it does feel like he's been playing in Madison for the last 18 years.
Yeah, like him or not, he's been around forever. He's kind of been a thorn in our side a couple times. He's hit a couple really big shots and wins up there. Everyone knows about Brad Davison, but the thing about him is he plays really hard, plays with a lot of energy, a lot of passion. The Purdue guards are going to have to match that, I think, tonight.
Speaking of our Boilermakers, I should bring you up to speed. Caleb First is expected to play tonight. Remember, Caleb did not play in the last game because of health and safety protocol. He's been cleared to play. We do expect to see Caleb First in the lineup tonight for our Boilermakers. A little bit more on this matchup tonight with Wisconsin. A couple of things they do really well. Number one, they don't turn the ball over. Top 5 in the country in turnovers per game. Number 2, they do not let you score at a high rate. Right about 63 points a game they give up. That's 4th best in the Big Ten. 2 things for our Boilermakers tonight. Take care of the ball, because you know Wisconsin will, and find a way to generate offense.
Yeah, Purdue's going to really have to try and push and create their own tempo and play at the pace they want to play, because if you play at Wisconsin's pace, they just grind you down. They make you work for your shots. They'll get after you defensively. If Purdue can get out and get a couple easy ones, pound it inside, score quickly, it'll take a lot of pressure off the Purdue guards.
I know this about this game tonight, Purdue fans. If Purdue gets a lead in the second half, and even if it's at double digits, do not take a deep breath. One thing Wisconsin has been outstanding at this year is coming from behind to win. They trailed by as many as 22 points. Granted, it was a home game, but 22 to Indiana, came back to win. That's the that was 3 or maybe 4 times this year, Chris. They've trailed by double digits in the second half and still won the game.
Yeah, I think they did it against Texas A&M. I know out in Maui, which was played in Las Vegas. Don't even get me going on that. But They were down 15 or 16 in the first half, came back to win. I think Houston, they may have been down, so they're no stranger to comebacks. Purdue's going to have to keep its foot on the gas tonight.
You know, one team they were down double digits, Nichols, but we just beat Nichols last Wednesday, and guess what? Wisconsin's also beaten Nichols. They played that game without Johnny Davis, but it is a common opponent for now. Okay, final note here, and Chris alluded to this a little bit earlier. Wisconsin has won a game here at Mackey, and they did it last year. Now, they weren't playing Purdue, they weren't even playing a Big Ten team, but they beat North Carolina in the NCAA tournament. You wonder just how much confidence that may have given them to say, hey, maybe we can win in Mackey Arena.
And during that 4-42 mark, a lot of the games haven't been close. Even in the current streak here, we beat them by 20 a couple years ago. Last year was 4 again with no fans. They absolutely blitzed North Carolina last year in the NCAA tournament. So they know they can win here. Granted, it's a different team, but again, it'll help them gain confidence, get used to the surroundings. I expect a strong performance from Wisconsin.
Purdue has outscored the opposition at the free throw line this year by 107 points. They've actually doubled up the competition. Purdue has 214 free throw makes. The opposition has 107. So they've literally doubled the opposition in free throw makes this year. Why do I bring that up? Because Wisconsin is a very good free throw shooting team. If this comes down to two teams shooting it out of the free throw line, I don't know how comfortable I'd be, Purdue fans. Wisconsin's pretty good.
Well, and Wisconsin doesn't foul a whole lot either. They play really solid defense. They don't let you get where you want to go. And they've actually outscored their opponents by 71 points, so they get to the line as well. So I wouldn't expect that stat to play a huge role tonight.
All right, final thought here with Chris Forman before we say so long and get ready for our pregame broadcast, which will start on the radio network at 6 o'clock Eastern. Purdue is #1 in the country in offensive efficiency. They have been most of the year. Wisconsin, we mentioned it earlier, one of the best defensive teams, not only in the Big Ten, but all of the country. So when it comes right down to it tonight, Chris, really good offense, will it be good enough to beat really good defense?
Purdue's going to have to work for its shots. I think if it can pound the ball inside, score inside, obviously it'll open up the outside, the perimeter players. Purdue does have an advantage inside, so hopefully they can take advantage of it.
We will find out. 7 o'clock tip-off tonight at Mackey Arena. Again, for those listening on the radio network, we thank you for that. 6 o'clock for our pregame show with myself and former Boilermaker Bobby Buckets Riddell. If you're watching on TV tonight, another former Boilermaker for you, Robbie Hummel, on the broadcast on the television side for those that watch on BTN this evening. Big thank you to Hunter, who is our man behind the scenes for this one today. Thanks to my broadcast partner, Chris Forman. I'm Rob Blackman. The real games begin again tonight. Big Ten play, Purdue and Wisconsin. We hope you enjoy, everyone. Boiler up.